The story begins on a lonely stretch of road, a place where the asphalt twists sharply beneath the skeletal fingers of overhanging trees. Locals call it Dead Man's Curve, a name whispered with the kind of reverence reserved for places where the veil between the living and the dead feels dangerously thin. The curve itself is unremarkable, just another bend on an otherwise forgettable back road, but its reputation is anything but ordinary. Over the years, too many cars have careened off its edge, their tires skidding helplessly on rain-slick pavement or black ice. Some crashes were blamed on reckless speed, others on poor visibility, but the stories that linger aren't about the accidents themselves. They're about what happened after. Drivers who survived swear they saw things in the rearview mirror that shouldn't exist. Phantom headlights glowing behind them, a shadowy figure standing at the curve's apex, or worse, a face pressed against their window in the split second before impact. Others tell of missing travelers, people who drove toward the bend and were never seen again, their cars found empty, engines still running, as if the occupants had simply stepped out into the night and vanished. The authorities dismiss it as superstition, blaming drunk driving or wildlife crossings for the wrecks, but those who felt the curve's presence know better. Some say it's haunted by the ghost of a trucker who lost control there decades ago, doomed to relive his fatal crash for eternity. Others believe the land itself is cursed, a place where the rules of reality fray at the edges. A few even whisper that the curve isn't just a place where people die, it's a place where they're taken, pulled into some other world where the road never ends. And yet, despite the warnings, there are always those who don't believe. Teenagers on dares, skeptics looking for proof, lost travelers who don't know the stories, they all find themselves rolling toward that bend in the road, unaware that Dead Man's Curve doesn't just keep secrets, it hungers for them. The road to Dead Man's Curve doesn't look like much at first. Just another forgotten stretch of blacktop winding through the hills, its yellow center line cracked and fading like an old scar. But those who know its history slow down long before they reach the bend. They roll up their windows, they stop their laughter, some even hold their breath, because everyone around here knows what happens at Dead Man's Curve. The tales go back further than anyone can remember. Some say it started with the stagecoach that went over the edge in 1883, the horses spooked by something unseen, the passengers' screams swallowed by the ravine below. Others swear it was the Greyhound bus in '52 that never made it to the next stop, just vanished, leaving behind nothing but a single suitcase spilled open on the shoulder, its contents scattered like bones picked clean. But the most chilling stories are the recent ones, the ones that can't be explained away, like the couple who swore they saw a little girl in a white dress standing in the middle of the curve one rainy October night. When they stopped to help, she was gone, but the next morning, their car was found idling in the same spot, doors locked, keys in the ignition, their coffee still warm in the cup holders. No sign of them anywhere. Or the trucker who called dispatch in a panic, screaming about headlights coming straight at him when there was no other car on the road. They found his rig the next day, engine roaring, CB radio still crackling with static, but the cab was empty, his half-eaten sandwich on the dash, the smell of his cigarette lingering like a ghost. The curve doesn't discriminate. It takes the reckless and the cautious, the believers and the skeptics. Some say it's a vengeful spirit, a lost soul bound to the bend where it died. Others think it's something older, something that was here long before the road was ever paved, something that wakes up hungry when the fog rolls in. The old stories never scared Jake, not really. He'd grown up hearing them, same as everyone else in town. Ghost cars, vanishing hitchhikers, the whispers of dead travelers echoing along Dead Man's Curve long after midnight. But they were just that, stories. Campfire tales told to keep kids from joyriding down back roads after dark. At least, that's what he kept telling himself. That's why he didn't hesitate when Tyler slapped a 20 on the pool table at Benny's and said, "Double it if you drive out to the curve tonight, right at midnight. Take a picture where the old mile marker is." Laughter erupted around them. Someone whistled. Jake's girlfriend, Danny, rolled her eyes, but didn't say no. She never did when it came to dares. That was the thing about their group. They'd been pushing limits since middle school, testing the line between brave and stupid, and so far, luck had held. "Easy money," Jake said, pocketing the cash with a grin. But the mood shifted when old Manny, the bartender, slammed a glass down hard enough to make them jump. "You kids stay the hell away from that road," he muttered. His knuckles were white around the rag he was twisting. "Ain't no joke out there." For a second, the room felt colder. Then Tyler snorted. "What? You gonna tell us about the ghost trucker who drags people into the ravine?" Manny didn't laugh, just stared at Jake like he was already measuring him for a coffin. "Last kid who went out there for a dare? They found his phone still recording on the hood of his car. 43 minutes of static and something moving in it." Danny stiffened. "Bullshit." "Check the news," Manny said and walked away. An hour later, Jake's Camaro idled at the turnoff to Dead Man's Curve, headlights cutting through the thick summer dark. The air smelled like wet asphalt and something else, something sour like old gasoline. Danny fiddled with her phone, pretending she wasn't nervous. Tyler and his girlfriend, Lissa, had bailed at the last minute. Man, my mom would kill me. So it was just the two of them now. "We don't have to do this," Danny said. Jake smirked. "Scared?" She punched his arm, but her laugh was thin. "Just take the damn picture so we can go." The curve loomed ahead, a sharp sickle of road hugged by crooked pines. No streetlights, no houses, just the hum of the engine and the creeping sense that something was watching from the trees. Jake slowed the car. That's when the radio hissed to life. No station, no music, just a voice, low and broken, whispering the same 3 words on a loop. "Get out! Get out! Get out!" And then, in the rearview mirror, headlights, coming fast. The voice on the radio clawed at Jake's nerves. "Get out! Get out! Get out!" Each syllable crackling through the speakers like static from a dead channel. His fingers tightened around the wheel. The headlights in the rearview mirror swelled brighter, closer, though he hadn't heard an engine, hadn't felt the rumble of another car pulling up behind them. Danny gasped. "What the hell is that?" Jake's gut told him to floor it, but the curve was coming up too fast, the road narrowing like a throat. If he sped up now, they'd spin out. If he stopped... The headlights vanished, just like that. No fade, no turnoff. 1 second they were there, blinding white in the mirror. The next, the road behind them was empty. Silence. Then the radio died mid-word, and the dashboard lights flickered. The air in the car turned thick, sour, like ozone and wet earth. Danny's hand found Jake's arm, nails digging in. "Something's out there," she whispered. And she was right. Between the trees, just beyond the reach of the Camaro's high beams, a figure stood. Too tall, too still. The shadows clung to it like tar, but Jake could make out the shape of a man, or something that had been a man once. The way it tilted its head wasn't natural. The way it watched them wasn't human. Danny's breath hitched. "Jake, drive." He didn't need telling twice. The tires screeched as he punched the gas, the car lurching forward. The figure didn't move, didn't chase them. Just stood there, half hidden in the trees, as they tore past Dead Man's Curve and didn't look back. It wasn't until they hit the main road, their hearts still hammering, that Danny spoke again. "The picture," she said, voice hollow. "Did you take it?" Jake hadn't. But when they checked Danny's phone, there it was. A single shot, blurred and dark. The curve, the trees, and in the corner of the frame, just barely visible, a pale hand pressed against the passenger window, from the inside. The car was still moving when Jake realized Danny wasn't breathing. One moment she had been there, her fingers digging into his arm as she stared at the grotesque image on her phone. That pale, skeletal hand pressed against the glass from inside the car. The next, her grip had gone slack. Jake risked a glance away from the road. The passenger seat was empty. Not just empty, pristine. The leather showed no indentation where Danny had been sitting moments before. Her phone lay face up on the seat, the screen now dark. Her purse was gone. The lingering scent of her vanilla perfume had vanished, replaced by that same damp, earthy stench that had filled the car back at the curve. Jake slammed on the brakes. The Camaro skidded to a stop in the middle of the deserted road, tires smoking. "Danny?" His voice came out hoarse, too loud in the sudden silence. No answer. He grabbed her phone, fingers trembling as he swiped it open. The photo was still there, the curve, the trees, that terrible hand, but something new had appeared in the image. A shadowy figure stood just behind the Camaro's passenger window, its face a smudge of darkness, its outline warped like heat haze on asphalt. Jake's own reflection stared back at him from the black screen of the driver's side window. And behind him, barely visible in the glass, something else moved. A shape, leaning closer. Jake threw the phone down and twisted around, but the back seat was empty. The road behind him stretched into blackness, no headlights, no sign of Danny. Only then did he notice the writing on the fogged-up passenger window, letters forming like frost on glass. "You should have left her." The radio crackled to life again, that same broken voice whispering, "Too late, too late, too late." Jake hit the gas, but deep down, he already knew. Dead Man's Curve didn't just take people, it replaced them. The police found Jake's Camaro at dawn, parked crooked at the edge of Dead Man's Curve, with the driver's side door hanging open. The engine was still running, the gas needle hovering just above empty, as if the car had been idling there for hours. The radio played nothing but white noise, though the scan button kept cycling endlessly through dead air. Officer Reyes was the first to approach. He'd grown up hearing the stories, had even responded to a few wrecks out here over the years, but something about this one made the hair on his neck stand up. The car was empty, yet the seats were damp, not with rain, but with something thicker, something that left his fingers sticky when he touched it. The passenger seat reeked of wet earth and gasoline, though the floor mats were bone dry. Then there were the things that made no sense. 2 coffee cups in the cup holders, both still warm, a lipstick stain on one. Jake's phone on the dashboard, open to a voicemail from Danny's number, left 3 days ago according to the timestamp. The message was just 12 seconds of jagged breathing, then a wet, guttural whisper, "Why did you let me in?" But the real horror came when they ran the plates. The Camaro wasn't Jake's, not anymore. The registration pulled up a name, Lucas Hargrove, age 19, reported missing in 1987 after a late-night drive to Dead Man's Curve. His car had never been found. Until now. The VIN matched. The faded bumper sticker for a band that broke up in the 80s matched. Even the cassette stuck in the deck was a mixtape with Lucas's girlfriend's name scrawled on the label. Except the coffee cups were modern, and the photo on Jake's phone, the one of the curve, the trees, the hand on the glass, was dated last night. Back at the station, Reyes pored over the old case files. Lucas Hargrove's disappearance, the Greyhound bus in '52, the stagecoach in 1883, all the same stretch of road, all the same details, vehicles found running, empty, with signs someone had just been there. And now Jake and Danny were just two more names on the list. Reyes closed the file. Outside, the rain started, and somewhere down on Dead Man's Curve, a car engine turned over. 5 years to the day after Jake and Danny vanished, a pair of headlights cut through the midnight fog rolling across Dead Man's Curve. Mia hadn't wanted to take this road. She'd argued with her boyfriend, Kyle, when he insisted it was the fastest route back to campus. But the GPS had glitched, rerouting them down this god-forsaken stretch of blacktop, and now the trees pressed in like silent spectators. The air smelled wrong, like hot metal and rotting leaves. Then the radio died. Kyle smacked the dashboard. Piece of shit, Mia saw at first, a figure standing at the curve's apex, silhouetted by their headlights. A guy in a faded denim jacket, his face shadowed beneath a baseball cap. One hand was raised, thumb out. Hitchhiking. Kyle slowed. The hell is someone doing out here? Don't stop, Mia whispered. But the hitchhiker stepped into the road. Illuminated fully now, Mia could see his face, pale, gaunt, but unmistakably familiar. She'd seen it on missing posters freshman year. Jake. The guy who disappeared with his girlfriend on this very road. Except he looked exactly like the photos. Exactly like he hadn't aged a day. Kyle rolled down his window. You okay, man? Jake's lips parted. A wet clicking sound came out, like a throat full of rainwater. Then words, slow and distorted. She's still in the car. Mia's breath caught. Behind Jake, something moved in the trees. A flash of white, Danny's dress, and then a dozen pale hands pressed against the Camaro's fogged-up windows, the one parked crooked at the curve's edge, the one that hadn't been there a second ago. Kyle stomped the gas. In the rearview mirror, Jake stood watching them flee. And behind him, the Camaro's doors creaked open. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.